Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Dark Reading News Desk, live from Black Hat 2023 in Las Vegas. Coming to you from the Mandalay Bay, I am thrilled to welcome our next guest, Lyle. She is an attorney and head of claims with Coalition. She is here to talk about her presentation that's happening this afternoon, Why Cyber Insurance is Your Stock's Best Friend. Welcome, Catherine.
Oh, Becky, thank you so much.
Thanks for being here. We have a lot of, and especially at Dark Reading, we get questions all the time about cyber insurance. So I'm thrilled to have you here to sort of get through some of the major questions.
Yeah, let's demystify this a little bit. I mean, it's the first time it's here at Black Hat.
Really?
So let's talk about it. It's the first time it's had its own siloed thread, right? Like a whole group that we're running through with just insurance. So it's a really great element that I think has been missing from Black Hat. And there's a lot that insurance carriers we've been bringing to the forefront, and entities like Coalition with active insurance being able to bring far more to the table. And I think that a lot of the companies that are attending here or seeing it are kind of seeing it for the first time and seeing what we really bring.
Okay, great. So let's unpack.
Sure.
Now I know that the cybersecurity insurance, the model is sort of evolving to meet the actual threat that we're dealing with today. It's an investment, and I'd like to know sort of, how do businesses know that they are in fact a good candidate for this, that I should have it? And I've heard some people say, you should have it because you wake up and you run a business. I've heard others say, well, it's more of a strategic sort of decision. So how would you guide somebody through that decision process?
Well, if you think about the process of the average ransomware right now, total cost for 2023, about $400,000. I guess one simple way is asking, can you spend $400,000 errantly, right, to respond to an event? But also, I think there's other elements that you have to look at. Things like Coalition with active insurance. Are you getting security platforms free of charge ahead of time? Are you having someone that's scanning your system every week that's telling you, hey, based on the research that we've been doing, what we've been seeing in the environment, this type of end-of-life software, end-of-life technology, this type of technology you're using is risky and increases you threefold, say, to having a hacking event. If you're not getting that data from someplace else, then you should be getting it from your insurance carrier.
So it's sort of a quasi-consultancy play. And so you all, at Coalition, you have researchers, security researchers there doing their own research.
Yep, they have their own honeypots. They're tricking threat actors to come in and attack, and we're researching how they're doing it, the methods that they're doing it, all of that type of stuff. But we're also ingesting all the data we're getting through applications. We're also ingesting all the data we're getting through events, so that we're able to use that to help future insureds and current insureds to know, hey, this is where you're going to get caught up. This is where a threat actor could get you.
So that does bring me to my next question, and I asked it initially, what are requirements? But you're saying that the insurer will, in fact, rather than placing blanket requirements on a business looking for a policy, you will sort of coach them to get up to where you think they should be.
The right insurer will, right? Like, what could be worse, right? If you're just hitting every single one of your clients and saying, hey, this is an alert and this is coming. What if that company doesn't even have that technology? Now they're spinning up, they're trying to figure it out. What we try to do with our active insurance is we know by scanning them, by treating them like we're a hacker, and we can scan them and their entire company and say, hey, look, we know you're using this type of technology. We also know that in the wild, it's getting hacked. And so therefore, let's put it behind something to protect it. Let's shut it down. Let's find another way to protect you, instead of sending a mass alert to somebody who it might not even impact.
How does that work with teams? I mean, is that a really close, regular communication between security teams of the companies that you insure? How does that relationship get managed?
Sure. There are multiple ways that we manage it. We work with our broking partners, first of all, and there's a lot of brokers. Again, we just talked about how insurance is here for the first time. I've been running into great partners that we have, Aon being one of them, and we've seen other carriers here. So we work with them directly. So we'll send an alert to both the broker and to the person at the company who has been identified that can handle that. So we'll send them an alert saying, hey, not only do we say this is the technology that's problematic, we also say this is how to fix it.
Okay. And one of the main arguments I hear about not arguments, but one of the benefits of cybersecurity is the pool of experts that you have to draw on for incident response. And you're particularly talking about the SOC and how insurance is your SOC's best friend. Why is that? And kind of what are you bringing to bear on an incident response?
What people don't fully understand yet is that unlike property or CGL, it doesn't always, those are the ones that sit on the shelf, right? And you pull them down when you have a catastrophic event or you have some other type of an event happening. There's a couple of things that we try to do differently. One, we try to step in front before it's a full event. So say somebody realizes that they gave away their password, calling in to our team where we have an incident response team, we have a claims team, and we can say, hey, wait a minute, let's get counsel free of charge to protect this underprivilege. We have our own forensic firm, Coalition Incident Response. They can go in and say, hey, you know what? The threat actor hasn't realized you've given your password yet. And we see nothing that they've come in yet. So let's change your password, and then let's turn on MFA. So this doesn't happen in the future, right? So those are the preventative measures that we do. But what I was trying to talk about is the things that people don't understand is that cyber is very niche. So when you go back to your first question of, can they afford it? If they don't know who is in the cyberspace as an attorney, who can be a breach coach successfully, who actually does proper forensics, who does proper notification, they're going to be fumbling around. And while I gave you the amount of $400,000, it is going to be 500, 700, $1 million because they're delayed in what they're doing. They've hired someone who doesn't know as counsel properly how to do it, so they're kind of figuring out and researching along the way. Their forensics aren't narrowing in on exactly what they need, so they might kick out part of the threat actor but didn't shut the doors or windows that they came in. And so this is where cyber insurance is so specialized, and the vendors that we use are so specialized and excellent in what they do.
Cyber insurance is often blamed on some level for the rise in ransomware prices, which are now, we know, incrementally going down. So I guess the larger question is, how can a business believe, or should they be looking for to analyze and decide whether an insurer is really working in their best interests, or if an insurer is working to just get it paid out and move along and get their business underway?
So I think there's a couple of things you need to look for. One, working with your broker. Obviously, a broker partner is going to be the one that's going to be able to help you do that risk analysis of whether or not you should be getting cyber. You should be getting cyber if you're in business and if you use the internet. I mean, let's be honest. But beyond that, looking at wording, look for things like pay on behalf. Think about this in a very simple way. You want your carrier to step in your shoes and pay all those bills for you, not require you to pay them, and then they reimburse you, right? Because now you're having to get a loan. Like, how do you go to a bank and say,
I need Bitcoin.
I need $1 million because I need to pay ransom, and they look at their sheet and they're like, well, are you going to be able to pay back $1 million? Oh, I'm sure I can. And it's like, they're going to no, we're not doing that. But we, as carrier, the coalition, we step in your shoes and we pay that for you. We get the Bitcoin for you. We negotiate that ransom, right? So these are the things that we do for you. And those are the things you want to look for, those types of wording. Other types of things. Also for things like funds transfer fraud. You may be only insured to a certain level. A lot of companies that are dealing with crime or social engineering funds transfer fraud will just simply write the check and say, okay, here's your max payout. Say you transferred out $2 million. And I know that sounds shocking. This year alone, our insureds have transferred out over $43 million. Wow. We have gone back with our banking and our law enforcement relationships, and we have pulled back 23 million of that. Wow. So we've pulled that back. So then we insure the rest, right? That is something different. So that when everyone talks about ransomware events, everyone says, oh, could be an end-of-life thing for a company, right? Because you have to pay $200,000, $500,000.
And there's legalities. I mean, how do you just go buy Bitcoin and send it off? Yeah.
But with funds transfer fraud, if you've transferred out $1 million, you're going to wish you had a ransomware event instead, because you could negotiate down, you can talk to the threat actor, you can do these things. Once someone steals your money in funds transfer fraud, it's gone unless you have a company that goes in and tries to claw it back.
Interesting. I wish that we had a lot more time to just discuss all this. Everybody I know has a lot of questions about it. Thank you so much for your insights.
It's truly been a pleasure.
Wonderful. Okay, so if you're interested in learning more about Catherine, she can be reached at
Coalition.
Coalition.
Catherine at coalitioninc.com.
Wonderful. Thank you again.
Thanks so much.